The following live stream has been approved for appropriate audiences. It may contain occasional strong language and may not be suitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good evening, happy Friday, and welcome to Last Call, the best place to wind down after a brutal week over drinks with friends and just leave it all behind so you can enjoy the weekend. Unless you have to work tomorrow, in which case it sucks to be you. So hang out with us for a little while and it'll suck less. And speaking of suck, we're still getting half-assed superhero films out of Hollywood land. This time it's those wacky Warner Brothers
and the Warner Sisters.
And they have put out the penultimate Snyderverse film, and I have thoughts. Let's talk about Blue Beetle, what we got, what we might have got, and what you may not even know about the character. So sit back, relax, top off your glasses, tell me what you're sipping on in the chat, and we'll get the Canarble Wagon rolling right after this. Lester San Jose bought Netter and me a bottle of wine for our anniversary. I thanked him for that a few weeks ago, but I do owe him a song. That's coming up. In the meantime, thanks to all of you who support the channel by coming to hang out with us every Friday, hitting that like button, dropping a comment, and sharing out the stream. It really does encourage all of us here at Last Call. And if you'd like to buy me a drink and hear me sing you a song next week, the link is in the description below and pinned to the top of the chat. Grazie e salute. No, the rum isn't gone. Obviously, I just bought a bottle, but in fact, you can even see it still here. But, you know, I mean, that's just how it goes. Okay. Away we go. Out of the tree of life I just picked me a plum. You came along and everything's starting to hum. Still, it's a real good bet. The best is yet to come. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? You think you've seen the sun, but you ain't seen it shine. Wait till the warm-up's underway. Wait till our lips have met. And wait till you see that sunshine day. You ain't seen nothing yet. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? The best is yet to come, come the day you're mine. Come the day you're mine. I'm gonna teach you to fly. We've only tasted the wine. We're gonna drain the cup dry. Wait till your charms are right for these arms to surround. You think you've flown before, but baby, you ain't left the ground. Wait till you're locked in my embrace. Wait till I draw you near. Wait till you see that sunshine place. Ain't nothing like it here. The best is yet to come, and babe, won't it be fine? The best is yet to come, come the day you're mine. Come the day you're mine. And you're gonna be mine.
I've been yours for 31 years, dude.
Indeed you have, girl. Indeed you have. I thought that was a pretty appropriate song. It was a song for our anniversary. I think it's very on brand for me, a little old Blue Eyes. Let's bring them in. Starting this once, forgive me, Boomer, I want to start out with my beautiful wife, Netter, because she's mine. How you doing, sweetie, and what you sipping on, dear?
I'm doing better now that the week is over.
It's been a brutal one, hasn't it? Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about those that didn't tune into Thursday Things yesterday over on Netter's Network, which you should have done, but, that's okay. Netter's going to tell you a little bit about her week.
Yeah, well, first, I'm sipping on, what is that you made me? You made me the drink.
It's Netter Colada, I guess. It's pineapple juice and coconut rum.
Okay.
Because you deserve it, and you earned it this week.
Yeah, I really needed a drink after the week I had.
Yeah.
So, my company decided that although, the money that the company has is okay, they still need to cut the workforce for reasons.
Yeah.
And so we found out on Thursday, just because our managers, not my immediate supervisor or manager, but the manager
Yup.
decided to have a one-on-one on me, and I was freaking out because I thought I was in trouble. So I contacted my immediate manager and said, am I in trouble for something?
Those of you that have been in the workforce for a while kind of know how this feeling goes, right? You know something's going down. You know it's not good. So you get all knotted up.
And keeping in mind that of the last 5 jobs I've had, I've been laid off from every single one of them. It's like I started getting nuts. But my immediate manager said, oh no, the big boss just wants to, give you some updates and she just wants to tell you herself. I'm like, oh, okay.
That doesn't really help. Yeah.
And then she said, if it makes you feel any better, my coworker has a meeting right before her. I'm like, or right before you. I said, oh, okay, yeah, I feel a little bit better then, if it's just information she needs to give us. So I get my meeting.
See where this is going, guys?
The first words out of my manager's mouth is, so, we've been looking over the budget and we're going to have to reduce some costs. And so we're going to have a reduction in force. And I went whiter than white. You could see the white wall behind Troy. I was whiter than that.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I've been laid off from my last 5 jobs. It's not fun.
Yeah.
And she goes, your job is not affected at all. To which I most peed myself because I was so happy. But she did tell me my job responsibilities are changing a little bit. So instead of being under my direct manager like I've been, I'm moving over to a different manager. And my duties are going to be changing a little bit. So I'm okay with that.
Long story short, what happens when there's a reduction in force at a company? Come on, you guys all know this. Yeah. That means that all the rest of y'all that are keeping your job, you think, okay. But it also means you're taking on a shit ton more work for no more pay. That's how it goes,
So, came to find out that coworker who had the meeting before me, he was one of the ones let go. There's only 3 on our
Come on, in fairness, when you look at who was let go and who they kept, this is one of those instances where you kind of go, yeah, I kind of see it.
And this was one of those things where they said, oh, it has nothing to do with job performance or tenure. Yet in the town hall today, they said, we had to make that decision based on job performance and tenure. I'm like, so which is it? You lied to us or what?
I hear that, and I hear, okay, you got to tell me what you got to tell me when you got to tell me, but let's face it, anyone with a half an ounce of brains knows when you have a reduction in force, you let go the weaker people. You keep the cream,
Well, the nice thing was the big manager told me, she said, in this new role that you're going to be taking on, moving over to help, be in this other department, we really need your customer service-ness there. She goes, you're always customer forward, you're always willing to take on anything, you're this, you're this, you're this, and I just felt really good about that because that's one of the reasons I was hired and why my reviews have been so good.
Yeah.
Come to find out, we had, before the RIF, 381 people. They took away 17%, which means they took away 65 people from our group, from the company.
Yeah.
We're not a big company. So that's a lot of people. 65 people out of 381. So yeah, I need this drink because I made the cut.
You absolutely deserve it. And look, we dodged a bullet here, right? I'm just sharing a little peek behind the curtain into the life of Netter and Troy, right? She makes a lot more money than I do. She does. She's the primary income here. She's got the insurance. She makes the primary check. I'm a contractor, okay? If I take a day off, I make no money that day, and I don't bother with the insurance because I make so much less than she does. She's got the insurance, right?
Plus you're on my insurance.
Exactly. So if she had lost...
I just got a raise recently.
Yeah, and if she'd lost her job, that would have been like, fuck a doodle, I mean, oh shit, didn't even make it 15 minutes in. Oh well, whatever.
That's not a swear word. That's a made up word.
Fuck a doodle. Fuck a doodle. You remember the green screen that said, there might be some strong language?
Oh, wait. I gotta read this comment. Wolfie said, Monticelli carries her own weight. Monticelli ain't there just to look pretty.
But she does look pretty. Let's give her due on that as well. You didn't ask me what I was sipping on.
What are you sipping on?
Dry martini.
Oui, monsieur.
Wait. 3 measures of Gordon's, 1 of vodka, half a measure of quinoa lily. Shake it over rice, and then add a thin slice of lemon peel.
Yes, sir.
I said fuck it to the vodka and fuck it to the lemon peel. I don't want anything coming between my gin and my Cokie Americano. Right? I already told my Echo Dot to add Cokie Americano to my Binnies list. And you know what? Not only do I want to know what everybody's sipping on, I want to know if because I know Binnies is a big, national chain. I want to know if you guys all have a Binnies in your neighborhood. Assuming, you're in the U.S. Outside the U.S., you probably don't. I understand. You probably don't even know what Binnies is. Let me know that, too. I'd be very, very interested. So the reason I wanted Netter to share about this, it has nothing to do with the main topic for tonight, but here's why it's on brand. We are always talking about how this is a gathering of friends, right? We're here to chat, have drinks, decompress from the week so that we can go into the weekend and enjoy it as much as possible. So what do you talk about with your friends? What's going on in your lives, right? So I just wanted Netter to share that with y'all because it's an important part of what's going on with us behind the scenes. What's up, Netter? She's like busting a gut over here.
Well, it's like I happened to scroll up a little bit to look at some comments because I caught this. Delete scene said, fuck a doodle, I'll stop. Bad wrench.
Oh, yes. And speaking of wrenches, a couple of y'all might notice you guys logged in today and found yourself all bluified because you're here on a regular basis. And, I appreciate you. And if you didn't have a blue wrench, you should have had a blue wrench. And you'll notice that if you are a regular blue wrench, you're listed below as part of the... Don't take offense. I said waitstaff. I'm going with the whole shtick of, the guy who owns the pub and the designated driver and the bouncer and the maitre d', So the blue wrenches are going to be waitstaff. Don't take it too seriously, but I figure I'm not monetized. I don't make money. So I got no money to pay this staff. At least I can, have you listed permanently in the description, so people can go to your channel and subscribe to you.
Cocktails.
Servers?
I had slingers, cocktail slingers.
Cocktail slingers. I didn't think about that. Maybe next week I'll change it to that. That's a great idea. Speaking of my designated driver, let me bring that bugger in here. How you doing, Agent Boomer? What are you sipping on?
I'm doing fine. I'm sipping on a peach iced tea with ice.
Well, I hope you got ice with your iced tea. How bad is it down there in Florida with the heat?
It's bad. August is the worst month.
would
September
imagine.
isn't much better, but August is definitely the worst month. This has been a particularly hot summer in Florida, too. It might be one of the hottest on record, so, yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. It's got to be rough for you guys in Florida, especially Boomer. Maybe see if you can't talk to that governor of yours and tell him to quit wasting time with this stupid run for the presidency and focus on his own damn state. You know,
it's funny.
I'll be honest with you. About a year ago, we had this same conversation. Do you remember this, Boomer? Where I said he's going to run for president. I hope he does, and maybe he'll be, Trump's running mate or whatever. And you're like, no, we voted for him for governor. We need him to be governor. And now I'm sitting here going, yeah, stick to what you're good at, asshole.
Well, no, we've been having big problems with
the insurance companies
down here too, and he needs to be focusing on that. And anyway, whatever.
I dig it.
I don't know. I'm very jaded over the whole political process now.
Yeah, and another little peek behind the curtain for everybody. I was reached out to by another YouTuber. You guys probably all know him, Ryan Roger Affe. He is starting up a new regular stream, weekly stream. I think on Saturdays. Saturday. For us, it's like late afternoon, early evening. And he wants me to be a guest. And the stream is going to be about politics in general. Keeping in mind he's over there in Limey Town over there on the other side of the pond. I kid. I'm a big Anglophile. I'm just playing around, guys. He's over in England, and he actually, I take that back. I think he's actually in Wales. Either way, he wants to talk politics, and he's looking for YouTubers that are interested in talking politics, and he reached out to me and asked for some suggestions. So I'll probably be guesting on his show sometime real soon. Keep an eye on my community tab, and I'll be talking more about that. And Boomer, I don't want to, we'll be chatting more tonight. Let me focus though on the very, very patient chat that I haven't said hi to yet.
Sure.
I mean, for fuck's sake, we're 20 minutes in and I haven't said hi to anybody. I feel like a bad host. Sorry, everybody, but
you gave us a lovely song. Come on.
Was it okay?
I liked it.
I realized I was front loading a bit. So I was like, I'm going to be fucking off key. And then I was like, yeah, but it's Frank Sinatra. I should be okay. I can kind of get by, right?
No, Dean Martin, you can get away with it.
Well, here's the thing about Dean Martin. His whole shtick was that he was drunk, but he really wasn't.
Yeah, I know.
People don't realize this. Dean Martin was kind of a teetotaler. It kind of blows his whole, his whole shtick. On the other hand, Frank Sinatra, I don't know how much he drank or how much he recorded drunk or whatever. I don't know about that aspect of it. But listen to Frank Sinatra's singing style sometime. Vocal coaches will teach you that when you hold a note, you hold it on the vowel. A-E-I-O-U, right? A-E-I-O-U. Those are the that's what you're singing when you're holding the note, right? Nah. Frank Sinatra said, fuck that shit. And he would hold it on the N and the R, the consonants. The best is yet to come the day you're mine. I mean, he did whatever he felt like, which gives it that kind of, I'm kind of sloshy, I've had a few drinks kind of feel. It doesn't mean he did, I'm just saying. And that's what made him different, right? So so maybe I kind of keyed into that with this martini. But Yeah, no sponsored drink tonight, but I was inspired last night by Continuum Chronicles, who chugged a friggin' bottle of vodka last night on Netter's Network. Again, this is the second time I'm mentioning that stream. You better go to Netter's Network, check out this stream. You're going to enjoy it.
Call it like what, rancid vodka or something?
Yeah, he said it was rancid because what happened was, and anybody who loves alcohol like I do, you know, you want to store your alcohol in a cool, dry place, right? If it's strong alcohol, your vodkas, your gins, your whiskeys, and so forth, go ahead and keep them in the freezer. That's fine. They won't freeze. But apparently, CK was saying he stored it in a warm place. And what's even worse, it was vodka that was in a plastic bottle. And I'm going to tell you all what I told him last night. It's not worth the couple bucks that you save. Spend the extra money, get the glass bottle. Plastic, it leaches those chemicals into the alcohol. You can kind of taste it. It's not good for you, you know, and okay, little side note. Plastic, you're getting your soda, you're getting your alcohol, you're getting everything friggin' wrapped in plastic, right? Don't do it, Netter. Don't wrapped in plastic. That stuff leaches chemicals into it that, I don't know about women, I don't know what effect it has on them, but men, the effect of that plastic that leaks into your food on a constant basis has the same effect on you that estrogen does. You grow the man boobs. Your testosterone gets lowered. Guys,
this might explain a lot in our modern society. I'm sorry.
And I'm not talking conspiracy theory bullshit. This is common science that people
Wait a
know.
minute, though. You want to get milk, it comes in plastic bottles. Unless you get cartons. You're saying get carton milk. Is that what you're saying?
No. Well, I don't know. I don't know if it's a national chain, but there is right by us a place called Oberweis where it still comes in glass bottles.
Oh, those are the best. Yeah.
And you bring the glass bottles back. You can taste the difference. I am not even joking, folks.
That's something they did in the old days. That was better than what we have now. Getting the milk delivered fresh to your house. That was good.
It's kind of coming around now. Now we got Amazon delivering our groceries to us and shit.
Really? Can I get milk in glass bottles? Because that might be a solution. There you go.
I don't know about that. And I'll have to check into Oberweis. But I got away from my story. So yeah, so CK took this plastic bottle of what he called rancid, and it probably tasted off. Because what happens is when your alcohol gets warm, alcohol has a lower boiling point than water does. So you know how water, if you keep it in a bottle, it tries to evaporate and then it condenses on the outside. And it gets that kind of stale taste. Alcohol does the same thing at lower temperatures because it very quickly evaporates. So if you've got alcohol in a warm place, it's constantly evaporating and condensing, and you end up with this flavor. And it's in a plastic bottle that makes it even worse. So CK was saying, he's like, I got to get rid of this, but God bless him, he didn't just dump it down the sink because that would be alcohol abuse. But last night on Netter's Network, he just downs half the bottle at the beginning of the stream, and I'm like, holy fuck, dude. And then, we're talking for a little while, and he goes, and then he just upends the bottle, and I'm like, dude. And he's like, man, I didn't feel like I got a lot of reaction from the chat. And I'm like, well, this was less than 15 minutes into the stream. Most people hadn't even arrived yet. I'm like, but man. And then by the end of the stream, we're back. I'm sorry, I'm kind of outing you here, CK. We're in the green room chatting. You know how we do. After a stream, we chat a little bit. And he's like, guys, I gotta go. I downed a whole bottle of vodka. I gotta pee. I'm like, okay, buddy, take care. So speaking of the chat, let's say hi to him.
before we say hello to that chat, let me let you know that Trey wanted me to give you a big hug and kiss from him. I'm not going to go on camera and do that.
He's
so
over. He's
later.
over on his.
Yeah, he's on his stream right now. I popped in to say hello to him. He said, "Love that big guy. Give him a big hug and kiss for me." So
thanks so much. Any of y'all Blue Wrenches, even though he's not here in the chat with us, if you could drop Max World Entertainment's stream, go give him a subscription if you don't already have it. But yeah, so let me say hi to y'all. I hope you're here, Big Al, but if you're not, I totally understand. You know, the whole idea behind Last Call was for it to be a late night stream. I'm coming to realize that this is hardly a late night stream for most of the people in the central and, out to the left coast. But you are on the East Coast. You're an hour ahead of us. You're in the future, and I understand. I super appreciate you stopping by to say hi. Justice for Ted Cord. We will be talking about that. Yes, I agree with you 100%, CK. You're absolutely right on that. We're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but I'm going to bring this comment up anyway. I like to watch how the Watchmen handled it with Night Owl 2, which was their version of Ted, being friends with Night Owl 1, which was their version of Dan Garrett. That's how I do it, with Ted as a modern Blue Beetle and Dan as his mentor, like Luke and Obi-Wan. Yeah, exactly right. We'll get into all of that, and I don't know what that means, but welcome, Deleted Scenes. Super appreciate you. You are awesome. And then he immediately goes into dropping links. Sir Torrent Clegane, I think I just gave you a blue wrench last night, and I was shocked that I hadn't already given you a blue wrench. That was wrong, and I fixed it. And Netters Network, you are awesome, sweetie. I love you so much. And that's not the alcohol talking, let's face it. Everybody in the chat knows that. Let's see here. Matanui, gosh, it's always awesome to see you, my friend. Thank you so much. Let's see. CK saying hello, but yeah, I said hi to you already. You're good. And I talked all about you. Jesse, good evening. Thanks so much. Thanks for hanging out with us last night, too. You're super awesome. Super appreciate you. Let's see.
I'm broken.
I'm sorry, you don't have any more pineapple juice.
I guess I have to switch to water.
You're going to have to switch to water, which is sad, because there's no alcohol in water usually. This is the most unusual choice of topic, but I do like it. Obscure topics are usually pretty funny. I had no idea about Jim Boyd. So you've probably done a little bit of Googling, or you saw the I'm probably going to start out with him. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Logical Spock, live long and prosper, my friend. Keely Chow, hey everybody, good to see you. David Pensack, I'm pretty sure David Pensack was another one that I just gave a blue wrench to. Sorry, I never had before. I really should have. He is a huge supporter of the channel. He's really good people. Sends me emails from time to time with, hey, check out this video, or this is something I think you'd be interested in. He's awesome. Let's see here. And I love the fact that you guys are all saying hi to each other. That's what this is all about. Dr. Author Adega Outlaw, howdy! Good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. Make sure you're subscribed to Adega Outlaw, and do a little Amazon search on that name, because he's got a couple books out that you will thank me later if you pick those up. I promise you that. Wolf Ted Media, I have not seen you in a while, my friend. Ahoo! Good to see you. Yeah, I see. You know what? Wolf 10 Media, by all means, everybody subscribe to his channel, especially if you're into like the animes and the kaijus and the and the pop culture stuff that we all talk about here, right? But he has the best thumbnails. He has the best damn thumbnails. I don't think they have anything to do with what he's talking about, but he knows what he's doing. Lester San Jose, a little late. It doesn't appear I missed that much. You may very well have missed that little thank you to you and the song I dedicated to you. Of course, it was also dedicated to Netter because, it all ties into the bottle of wine and the anniversary and everything. I finally just got around to that song, so maybe later on go back and, check that out. But make sure y'all are subscribed to The Skeptic Tank. Great channel. So glad he's here. And wow, I'm not even halfway down through the chat, but I'm trying to go quick. Oh, here's that guy in the tractor who's always in the chat. It's good to see him too. KBA, hello folks. Good to see you, my friend. God, I love that icon of yours. That's awesome. And man, it's always good to see you in the chat. I super appreciate seeing you. Let's see here. I did say hi to Jesse, right? Well, he's saying happy anniversary, so thank you very much. Yeah, August 3rd. That's probably going to come up in a trivia contest over on her channel, so figured I'd just drop that little factoid to y'all. Let's see here. And guys, I'm so far behind on the chat. If you guys are, commenting on something I said earlier or something that happened in the stream, I'm lost. And I'm already halfway into my martini, so you know how that goes for me. I don't have CK's constitution for alcohol, despite what y'all might think. Yeah. Lester San Jose, we laid off twice at the same company. I'm still with the company to this day. Well, amen to you, man. That's what I'll tell you. That's what really makes this YouTube thing a rough go, right? Because those of us that aren't monetized, this is kind of a hobby for us. We're hoping to make it something we can make money at, but for the time being. And we were talking with Tony from Analog Toys, and people don't realize this. He's a big monetized channel. He's still a work-a-day kind of guy, and his channel is the part-time job. So keep that in mind with your favorite YouTubers. There's a reason why I'm saying, hey, buy me a drink. You want to see me get shit-faced on stream? It really, really helps. But yeah. Yeah, Ma Pacelli is a sunny lady. She ain't nope. I'm not sure where that was going, but okay. And I didn't say fuck-a-doody. I said fuck-a-doodle. Get it right. Fuck-a-doodle. That's a new word. The first time I said that here in the house, Netta was like, fuck-a-doodle? And she burst into laughing.
Did you like what William Friedkin had to say about Al Pacino?
I did.
I don't give a flying fucking a rolling donut what Al Pacino has to say about. Where did that come from? He did not.
I felt like there was a whole shitload of history and subtext to that. Maybe we talk more about that on Sunday, just for the fuck of it, because that was very, very interesting.
He's funny to listen to. I didn't realize this much.
He just shot from the hip, didn't he? Yeah. He just shot from the hip. Ever since I caught that first video you sent me about him, my stream is filling up with videos about him, and I am not complaining. That's some good stuff. Evelyn says, good evening, everyone. Sipping on a homemade lemonade. Evelyn, I would love it if you went back to the beginning of the stream, told me what you thought about my poor rendition of Old Blue Eyes. Just curious. Gonna kind of try and get through this as quickly as I can so we can start getting into the main topic. Netter's doing her job as a bouncer, greeter, saying hi to everybody, probably checking your IDs. Hope you all are 18, or at least you can deal with the strong language occasionally. I fear Ted Cord never really was never really allowed to recover from the 80s Justice League International. Booster Gold had a similar ongoing problem. They lost their footing with those characters. You're absolutely right. And I will talk about that. I did not Did I add Booster Gold to the thumbnail? I meant to. I should have.
know.
I should have done. But it's almost impossible to talk about Ted Kord without Booster Gold. They were like, Green Arrow and Black Canary, and I don't mean in the romantic way. They weren't, they weren't, like the tutti frutti. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, Phil, TMNT, it's been a while, man. Good to see you, my friend. So glad you stopped by. You are awesome. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm trying to get through. Oh! The Bosco scenario. Oh, I haven't seen you in a while either. Thanks so much for being here. And the Bosco scenario, also a pretty awesome game. If you don't have the game or you can't find the game, check out some like playthroughs of it. It's almost a little intellectual, very, very funny and interesting. But that's beside the point. And I am all caught up to Netter saying hi to the Bosco scenario. So, and Evelyn saying she'll check it out. You don't have to listen to the whole song. If it sounds really bad and off key, just hit stop, quit, go to another video. That's fine. I understand. Just curious. But yeah. Let's. So if you dropped a comment earlier and I missed it, and you want me to see it again, I'm sorry, but if you would, could you drop it again? Keep in mind, a little bit fuzzy and all that kind of stuff. And, Keith Griffin's goal with JLI was to not have anyone have the same personality. Which, I wish Dave Filoni would fucking learn that shit with the stuff he's putting on TV. That's a different topic for another night.
Oh,
so
the new thing he has on? Is that what you're referring to?
So
you don't have to get into it.
I'll be very brief. Netter and I watched Clone Wars. Okay. We watched most of Rebels. We didn't get all the way through it, even though we have all of Rebels. And they did a good job. All the characters were well developed. They had their own stories. Hell, what's great about Clone Wars is you've got all these clones, right? They should all be the same. No, they were all unique. They all had different names, different personalities. There's a reason Netter has, a bunch of Fives action figures hanging behind her, because they were her favorite. Fives was her favorite. Tragic story, good story. Check it out. A couple of clones had some great stories that were a little bit tragic, and God, you love those characters, right? Writers, if you're writing stories and you kill off a character, make it a good death and keep them fucking dead, okay? Make it mean something, I'm getting sick and fucking tired of D- constantly killing characters, and then they're perfectly fine the next episode. There's no gravitas there. I'm getting sick of that stuff. But, yeah. So, his goal with the JLI was to have everyone not have the same personality. So he wanted you to be able to cut out all of the word bubbles, and only one character could have said, I feel like you're typing something else.
Could have said that thing.
Yeah, could have said, yeah, exactly. Oh, that thing. Thank you. Yes. I'm sorry. It was the next comment. Yes, exactly. Yeah. No, exactly right. Every character you create as a writer, I don't care if it's a comic book, a TV show, a movie, a book, you got to ask yourself, why is that character here? They have to have a purpose. If they don't, then whatever lines you were going to give them, you could give to some other character, right? I just saw an article. I think I sent it to you, Boomer. I don't remember. And I don't remember who said it, but it was someone in the comic industry who was kind of bemoaning the state of the comic industry right now. And saying, basically these kids don't know what the hell they're doing. Maybe bring back some of the classic comic book writers. The classic comic book writers were good writers. I don't care what your medium is. You don't need to know how to tell a story. You know? And you've got to not be so married to your characters that you can't let them go. Okay? Obi-Wan Kenobi died 2/3 of the way through the first movie. Stayed dead. Yeah, he came back as a Force ghost. He still had a purpose. But he didn't come back to life. Right?
You know, I notice in Jedi he's walking around, and whereas in Empire it's a little more mysterious. You only really been conversing with Joe.
Think about the full journey with that, right?
Yeah.
In the very first movie, he dies, and all he is a disembodied voice.
Yes.
You could even argue, is that real, or is that just Luke imagining?
I took it as it was really when I was a kid, but I don't know.
Well,
You're
as
talking
a
to the
kid,
same kid that thought there was always a ghost in a Scooby-Doo episode instead of a guy in a mask. So
right, exactly. The kids take it one way, adults would take it different. An adult would say, is that all in his head? Is he just remembering, his master and what he taught him? That would be a perfectly valid interpretation. Then come Empire. The next time you see him, he's a vision, Force ghost, out as Luke is losing consciousness out in the frozen tundra. So that could have very easily have been a hallucination, right? So what does Luke do? He decides to obey his master and go to the Dagobah system, right? What happens when he gets to Dagobah? At one point he gets frustrated and he goes, this is all like a dream. I don't even know why I came here. He's even doubting. Did I really see Obi-Wan? Is he really appearing to me? So clearly, in story, Luke was having these exact same thoughts, right? So, by later in Empire, when we definitely see the Force Ghost, and you see both Luke and Yoda interact with him, okay, we see what this is. This is, some ability he has in the Force. He's really there. Great progression, right? And you're absolutely right, Boomer. By the time we see him in Return of the Jedi, not only do we see him walking around, he brushes past a branch and it moves. Now that could have just been, part of the production, an accident or whatever. But
someone's crawling around here.
Someone's
crawling.
crawling. Well, and he's absolutely, and honestly, you kind of get the impression that's how it works, because who was the first, chronologically as we see him, the first Force Ghost? Qui-Gon Jinn, right? Qui-Gon Jinn theorizes the possibility, reaches out to Yoda through the Force. Yoda then becomes aware of this ability to manifest after death through the Force. And he tells Obi-Wan about it and tells him, I want you to learn that ability. Basically, do what you can, do the meditation, da-da-da-da. Now, Clone Wars and Rebels did more with it. And then the Obi-Wan series, Qui-Gon fully manifests to Obi-Wan, right?
That's not canon, not according to what George Lucas said. He said Qui-Gon could not become a Force ghost. Wasn't he quoted as saying that? He was not that high of a Jedi.
I'm sorry, buddy, but George Lucas doesn't get to say he sold his children to the white slavers. He doesn't get to say anymore. And I'm going to say one positive thing about Dave Filoni. You're not going to hear much positive about Dave Filoni from me. But the one positive thing I will say about Dave Filoni is he does have a tendency to go back to what George Lucas said in interviews before movies were made and whatnot, and keep revisiting that. The orange lightsabers that are very heavy that you see in Ahsoka, and some other elements. He's bringing back things that George said he was going to do and kind of never did. I give him kudos for that. That's all I'm going to give him, though. Oh, so apparently Evelyn did go and listen. My congratulations, and thank you on the anniversary wishes. That's absolutely great. Did Luke ever make it out of that cave? That's interesting. That's very interesting. That's an interesting concept. Probably for another night. You guys are kind of getting me off a little bit on a separate topic. I always end up in the debate of which Clone Wars was better, Dave Filoni's or. I'm going to fuck this up. Gennady Tartarovsky.
The Samurai Jack guy, he did Clone Wars shorts before Revenge of the Sith came out.
Which I have on DVD and have not watched.
He did really good with General Grievous. He made him very threatening in this cartoon series. He was not comic relief. He was actually very scary.
I am gonna have to go check that out. Yeah. That's absolutely true.
And there's no Ahsoka in it. She was created because basically, I guess that's not canon anymore. But originally, this was supposed to be the Clone Wars. I think the Clone Wars animated series that came out later took elements from the one that Tartakovsky.
The one positive thing I've always said about the Clone Wars series is that the 3 prequel films feel pretty rushed as far as the Clone Wars go, and you don't get the impression of what's going on, and you almost need a series like the Clone Wars to fill it all in, right? You know, I mean, it's like your high school reading history of World War II, and then you see Band of Brothers. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, now I'm starting to kind of understand what World War II really was all about, what it was really like. You know, then you see Dunkirk and, Darkest Hour and, Tora, and all the other great World War II movies, right? Patton and whatnot. I kind of feel like Clone Wars kind of was that for what it was. And I got to thank my buddy Skipper Kenner, who's usually in the chat. I don't see him tonight, but he and his boys kind of pushed me. You got to check out the Clone Wars, and I'm kind of glad I did. It was good stuff. But Dave Filoni, stick to animation, stick to what you know. I don't want to see the movie he's working on. I really, really don't. But,
we'll get into it another night.
But yeah, so let's.
It'd be cool if you should go on Pops again, maybe to discuss that. That might be interesting.
Yeah. Probably a good idea. Absolutely. But yeah, let's kind of pivot a little bit to Blue Beetle. So, can I confirm you haven't seen the movie?
I have not.
Okay.
I have nothing against this picture.
Everyone that I've heard from that saw it said it was pretty good.
I like the lead actor. He's good. He's the
Cholo. Yeah.
Cholo. He's I love him on Cobra Kai. And
absolutely.
Sure
he's too. And look, this is something that we often repeat about these productions, right? Just because we don't like a movie doesn't mean we don't like the actors and the people who performed in it, right?
Right.
And I'll be honest with you, something I've come to learn, when you see some of these big blockbuster films and you like the CG sucks, at this point I'm not even blaming the CG houses and the artists that are doing it anymore. I'm starting to realize what's going on behind the scenes with their budgets and their timelines, and it's like, we're lucky we freaking got anything on screen for the shenanigans they're pulling.
One thing I heard about this movie is that they did use a lot more practical effects than you see in most modern superhero movies.
In Blue Beetle?
And I think it's because maybe they couldn't get to these CG houses, but they actually said that looked better than if they had gone with some of the CG stuff. Like there's some scenes with
I'm saying. That's what I've been saying.
Yeah.
And of course, I would be very interested in what the chat has to say, those of you that did see Blue Beetle. Look, my monologue, I was a little negative, but I'm just fairly negative about everything that's come out of the Snyderverse, right? And if Blue Beetle is the best thing that came out of the Snyderverse, well, that's not a very high frickin' bar now, is it?
From what I could tell, it looked on the level of those Shazam movies. That's what it sort of...
I like that first Shazam movie.
Yeah,
I had some issues with it.
Yeah.
But it turns out, in retrospect, all the issues I had with that first Shazam movie, I've come to realize that it wasn't the fault of the specific people working on that film and writing it. Their hands were kind of tied by Dwayne friggin' Johnson. That's a story for another day.
Another story. But
that was let's just say, Dwayne Johnson and his star power and the influence he had over DC Warner Brothers was the final nail in the Snyderverse coffin. It really was. He effed up. He thought he was leveraging to keep it going. He completely misread what was going on. So here's what I wanted to ask you, Boomer. What do you know about Blue Beetle as a character?
What do I know about Blue Beetle as a character?
Yeah. I'm putting you on the spot a little bit. I'm
fairly limited. They had him on Smallville. I don't know him from the comics for anything yet. I do know that there have been 2 Blue Beetles. He was on Batman the Brave and the Bold as the young Jamie Reyes. Of course, we learned later on that there was another Blue Beetle years ago called Ted Kord on Batman the Brave and the Bold. I think he shows up on the show too.
Yeah.
But that's about it. As you mentioned, though, Justice League International, I know that was a big thing with Blue Beetle and Booster Gold getting up to shenanigans, and it sounds kind of funny, actually. But
yeah, absolutely.
Because I my whole impression of Justice League International is like if the writers of Mad Magazine were doing a DC comic, that's what it probably sounds like to me. But
yeah,
but not too much beyond that. It's the Scarab, and it's alien Scarab, I believe. Is that right? Or maybe sometimes it's made.
I've got to be honest with you. I don't know a great deal about the Jaime Reyes incarnation. It's a little bit after my time. As CK was saying earlier in the chat, Ted Kord is definitely, my Blue Beetle, but we'll get into that a little bit more. But yeah, there's definitely this element of he has abilities because of we'll call it an alien technology, whether it's an ancient technology, alien technology, whatever it is. He gets these superpowers. Which is very different from his predecessors. But yeah. Was Jaime Reyes, that incarnation, your first encounter with Blue Beetle, or are you aware of?
Yes, no, pretty much. I wasn't even aware of Ted Kord till, again, like I said, a lot of my information, especially with these obscure DC characters, comes from the cartoons. I don't believe Blue Beetle was on any of the like there was a Batman the Animated Series DC animated universe that went on with Superman and the Justice League and Batman Beyond. I don't think they ever had Blue Beetle, even when they went to Justice League Unlimited. I don't think he was on that show. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I've watched that. They did a Booster Gold show up in an episode of Justice League International, though. But my introduction to him, I think, was on Batman the Brave and the Bold, and it was Jamie Reyes. And the idea behind Batman the Brave and the Bold was they would put Batman in with a new superhero. They would team him up with a new superhero each.
Kind of like the comic books. That's why it was called Brave and the Bold,
yeah, and all the superheroes had their different personality quirks to bounce off of Batman. I think the whole thing with Jamie Reyes is he's still kind of a kid, or like he's the up-and-coming superhero that's just learning the ropes. That was his thing, going up against Batman.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that's
his powered suit. Yeah,
that's a great thing. And my understanding is that Ted Kord does make a I don't know if you'd call it cameo appearance or whatever, but he's referenced in the movie. He's at least voiced by somebody, and so there's probably some sort of a mentor-mentee kind of relationship there.
I think they even made a point that he was the Blue Beetle in the 80s, so they did establish that he was the first Blue Beetle, at least in the movie. That's what I heard. So they don't completely ignore Ted Kord in the movie. They just, if they did a sequel, they'd probably have Ted Kord show up. Maybe they would do more.
So CK makes a great point here that I totally didn't know. These things, the scarabs, are evil, but Jaime uses his to fight other scarabs.
Right.
That's very interesting, which certainly on the one hand makes me think of the Venom symbiote. also kind of, I had always thought of the Scarab as being kind of sort of like Green Lantern's lantern ring, but different. And so I'm kind of getting that. That's pretty cool. So it's very interesting. You know what my first encounter with the Blue Beetle was? Jim Boyd, and a couple of people in the chat have been kind of talking about that. So let me present, share screen, entire screen, share audio, and let me share this with you real quick. Play. Come on, play. Just play.
Mary had a little lamb.
True.
I have a mustache.
Untrue.
I'm wearing glasses.
True.
This is square.
Untrue.
I am a girl.
True.
Unless you're
You have a
non-binary.
plant on your head.
You have a plant?
Untrue.
The Blue Beetle is the most wonderful, excellent, heroic person in the world.
True. Of course. Right, after you. I'm the greatest superhero in the whole world, right?
Ben!
Gotta remember, this is off of an old VTR.
I'm Ben.
So you get the impression he does have some super strength, right?
I'm Ben.
Like, how many times do I gotta bend this thing?
That's what he's saying. He's like, I'm barely doing it each. And he broke it. Broken.
Broken.
See, I remember that.
A tie if you are, Spidey. Oh, you know.
Okay.
Web it and make it unbroken.
Well, would it really be unbroken? I think it would be
Fixed.
mended.
Superman could use his heat vision.
So those of you that know where that came from, yeah, that was from Superman would have been able to use heat vision. That was Jim Boyd, who was a regular on the Electric Company. Those of you of a certain age would remember him, from the Electric Company, PBS, here in the United States. And if you are old enough to remember Blue Beetle from the Electric Company, you will remember those Spider-Man shorts that they used to do. It was a phonics, teach you how to read type of thing. It was kind of in the vein of like Sesame Street, but different. And Jim Boyd was a regular cast member, and he played different roles. He actually he played the parody version of Steve Austin, the $6 Million Man, too. And a bunch of other roles. You'll also remember Rita Moreno was on that. What's his name? Morgan Freeman. He was also on Electric Company. So that's where my generation knows some of these from. But this was my first experience with the Blue Beetle, and clearly he is not the same Blue Beetle that DC Comics has been putting out comics about. But they did have to. I'm sure it was in the the credits at the end. That the comic. Actually, I believe it was probably Charleston Comics at the time. So.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, so all right.
You see where I'm going with this, yeah.
Yes,
so
yes.
so the first appearance of Blue Beetle 1939, Mystery Men Comics #1
that's
by
funny.
Charleston Comics.
That title, Mystery Men. Now I'm thinking of the Ben Stiller movie, but I don't know
There
if
was
that's
a reason
related or
for
not.
it, absolutely.
Okay, yes.
The first Blue Beetle was Dan Garrett. All right. Character first appeared in... Oh, I'm sorry. At the time, in 1939, it was Fox Comics. The 1939 issue of Mystery Men Comics with art by Charles Nicholson Wojtowski, though the Grand Comics database tentatively credits Will Eisner with the scripture. Yeah, I'm not entirely certain about that. I think there's some debate about that. Blue Beetle has starred in a comic book series, comic strip, and radio serial. But like most Golden Age comic book superheroes, fell into obscurity in the 1950s. The comic book series saw a number of anomalies in publication. 19 issues, number 12 through 30, were published through, bear with me here, Holyoke Publishing. Number 43 was published. Publication frequency varied through the run, and there were gaps where issues were not published, with large ones occasionally in early 1947 and between mid-1948 to 1950. I would love to do a deep dive on that someday to find out why that is, see if at least the early parts of it were business-related, stock market, stuff like that.
You didn't ask me, but I know absolutely nothing about Blue Beetle.
Oh, I'm sorry. I already knew that, so that's, I guess, why.
But the audience didn't.
That's true. Thanks for being forthcoming about that, Netter. In the mid-1950s, Fox Comics went out of business, and despite allegations that they sold Blue Beetle's rights to Charleston Comics, there is no proof that a formal sale took place. Charleston Comics nevertheless published a few sporadic adventures of the Golden Age character before revamping the hero in 1964. Charleston tried 3 times to use the character to carry self-titled series. 2 of these attempts were retained, and the numbering of the previous titles, and were eventually replaced with new titles that carried on the numbering. The new series were short-lived. So again, that is the Dan Garrett version of the character. He was your basic pulp character, right? He was, I almost want to say he was a little Batman-esque. Everybody had a character like him, this costume vigilante, But what happened with Charleston Comics? Charleston Comics was eventually bought up by DC Comics. Those of you who are Watchmen fans know, probably without even realizing it, kind of know these characters, right? So the character that was in Charleston Comics that was the Blue Beetle, Dan Garrett, and later Ted Corden, we'll get to him in a second, was transformed into what was it? Night Owl? No. What was the character's name in the Watchmen?
Night Owl.
Yeah, Night Owl.
Yes.
And they even had the old, Dan Garrett sort of version and the younger Ted Corden version. But the mainline Night Owl character is your Ted Corden character. So let's make that pivot to Ted Corden. The Ted Corden character, most people know him from the DC Comics run in the 80s. The Justice League International. Now, I was a huge Justice League fan. Justice League, my 2 initial forays into comics were The Daring New Adventures of Supergirl, Justice League, and a little bit later, Superman, right? And that was the obvious extension from Justice League and Supergirl, right?
Your Supergirl, was she the one in the like the skirt?
She was wearing the skirt, and she had the small S on her chest until she changed her costume, and she ended up with a red headband and the bigger S on her chest. Yes.
Okay.
But that was during the span of the Daring New Adventures. It was during that time that I got into Justice League. The main characters were the ones that you expect. Those of you that are Snyderverse fans: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, Aquaman, etc., etc. Not Cyborg. Cyborg was, as far as I know, never a member of the Justice League. He was a Teen Titan. Okay, just don't know what the hell Warner Brothers has been doing. Okay, look, you want representation, okay? We got Stewart, Green Lantern they could have pulled in. They had John Henry Irons. There's been plenty of black superheroes in DC Comics. You didn't need to pull one up from the Teen Titans. That's all I'm saying.
They've been wanting. That's who they decided was going to be in the Justice League that they pulled from the Teen Titans. Yeah, I think, like I said, on the Justice League cartoon I grew up with, that was the later one. That was the John Stewart Green Lantern, because I guess he was first and in the front of the comics at that point in time, so they went with him. Just like they went with the Wally West Flash at that point too.
Sure, and I understand that. And there was this interesting time within the DC continuity where you had the Justice League, and their sidekicks became the Teen Titans, and then eventually what happened was the Teen Titans ended up growing up, taking on their own identities, know. And there was some evolution there. It was very, very interesting. So in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a great storyline where the mainline Justice League characters, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Aquaman, Green Arrow, Green Lantern, walked away from the Justice League. They quit. And John Jones, the Martian Manhunter, and then a little bit later, Batman came back, and we're like, we got to keep this going. We got to, make this work. And they started bringing in new characters.
Like Green Arrow, he showed up, doesn't he?
No. Green Arrow had already been, not a founding member, but, a second tier after the founding.
I know
he left.
that in the one commentary I heard they said that they felt Green Lantern was like the eighth Justice League member. He was like, it's like you have the original 7, and then
Green Arrow and Green Lantern very often had their own separate titles. They weren't full-time members of the Justice League. They teamed up a lot. You guys want to talk about woke and, stuff like that. Back then, you had Green Lantern and Green Arrow. Green Lantern being the right-winger and Green Arrow being the left-winger. And you had some really great stories where they kind of butted heads over philosophy. But it was very clear they were always on the same damn side.
They toyed with that on the cartoon, except they didn't have it be the John Stewart Green Lantern. They had to be Captain Atom.
Captain Atom, which, as CK pointed out, was a Charleston bring over, who became Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen. Captain Atom was very, he's what Superman was in The Dark Knight Returns. He was, the gung-ho but statist, working for the government type.
Right.
Captain was an actual title. He was really in the military. So
his last name I think was Adams, right?
I think it was something like that. I don't even remember. But yeah, no, exactly. So they created. It was a weird time in the Justice League, and there were some growing pains. And they started bringing in what I called, D-tier type superheroes. They started a recruitment drive. So you had Martian Manhunter and Batman going, we need new metahumans. metahumans is basically the DC version of mutants. You know, it's just normal people with superpowers, right? So they started bringing in people like Vibe, Vixen, a guy named Steel, who was the grandson of a Golden Age character named Sergeant Steel, who was kind of a cyborg type character, but externally you couldn't see it. Kind of a $6 million man type of character in a lot of ways. Fire. Well, she started out as Green Fire and Ice. Ice Maiden, I think she started out as, then she became Ice, so that they were Fire and Ice.
Yes.
You know. And it was actually a pretty damn good series, and I like these characters. They kind of grew on me kind of quickly.
Yeah, and in fact, I think Fire, at least if I'm going by the cartoon, she was originally Brazilian.
She was.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
She absolutely was.
The Ice, I think, came from a Nordic country, I think, too. So
yes, she was Scandinavian, which was actually brilliant. Which leads into eventually they rebranded the Justice League, which was the Justice League of America. They became the Justice League International, with the idea that they were going to have Justice Leagues, like Justice League embassies around the world. It was actually kind of a very clever idea. And two of the later additions were Booster Gold, a normal guy from the future who stole future technology from the time of the Legion of the Superheroes, a Legion flight ring and some armor and a robot and some other things, came and Rip Hunter's time machine to come back to the 20th century and become Booster Gold, right? So and he did what all of us would have done. He used his knowledge of the future to make a fuck ton of money in the stock market and become really rich. And then he started marketing, you know, the Booster Gold brand. So if you want to be, you know, if you're a fan of Booster Gold and you want his action figure, you're going to pay Booster Gold International, you know. And then he started taking out licenses to put out action figures for Batman and Superman and stuff like that. And it was a little tongue-in-cheek, humorous, but very, very interesting type stories.
I remember when he showed up on Smallville, and it was the whole idea was he wanted to show up before Superman comes on the scene to steal the spotlight. That was funny.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I'm sorry, and KVA, Green Arrow, there was a lot that I forgot. Hawkman, Hawkwoman, Black Canary, Zatanna, Elongated Man, Red Tornado, and Firestorm. Those were all Bronze Age. They all left when the Justice League broke up, you know. All of them having either their own titles or, like in the case of Hawkman and Hawkwoman, they were together. Black Canary was with Green Arrow and so forth. They had their own titles and whatnot. Red Tornado. I had a buddy in high school who pronounced it that way, and for whatever reason that stuck in my head. Red Tornado had a really good miniseries. I believe the artwork was by Infantino, written by Cary Bates, as I recall.
Okay, wow.
It was actually a really good title. It was a 6-issue miniseries. He was trying to live a life like a normal human.
Was he an archaeologist?
No.
He was an archaeology professor on Brave and the Bold, but I don't know if that's what he was in the comics.
I actually don't remember what. I just remember the personal life. He got married, had kids. Obviously, they weren't his natural kids. You know, I mean,
right? Oh my goodness!
But
it's like data, basically, right?
There was that kind of an element to that storyline. It was very. I mean, it wasn't. It was still like late Silver Age, early Bronze Age. It wasn't like a dark story, but it was deep, you know, and I really, really enjoyed it. I think I might still have it. It was really good. There was another comic book miniseries that came out in that period. Now we're getting real obscure, folks. It was, I also believe this was a 6-issue miniseries called Superman the Lost Years. And it talks about Clark Kent going to university I want to, can't remember if it was Midvale University or Metropolis University, but it was trying to cover those years that, never had been covered between the Superboy and the Superman, canon of stories. But this all takes place right in that era. And then Aquaman got a whole bunch of miniseries there too, and that's where he gets that. He breaks away from having the green and yellow outfit, and for a little while he has the outfit that looks like water.
Yeah.
And they said it was like a stealth suit or something like that, which apparently is going to make an appearance in the new Aquaman movie. He also loses his hand, and he ends up with a hook, which, I don't know. Aquaman pirate element, I don't know. But yeah, no, there's some really, really good stories out there. Let me get back to it. So Ted Cord. Ted Cord is the Night Owl type character, right?
Right.
And he is the wealthy industrialist, Ted Cord, Cord Industries. There's a Batman-esque kind of element to him. So his powers aren't really powers. It's mostly this technology, and he's this giant beetle spaceship, not spaceship, but airship that he instead of having a Batmobile, he has this ship that flies over the city. And if you saw The Watchmen, you know what I'm talking about. Instead of an owl, it was a beetle. That's all it was, right? And it was a good, serious story until they went to the Justice League International. They kind of get into the idea of, well, how the hell do superheroes make money and earn a living? Superman's got to be a reporter, having a work-a-day job while being friggin' Superman, right? It's kind of like having a 40-hour week job and then doing YouTube on the side. It's the same kind of thing, right? But Ted Cord introduces, and Blue Beetle both introduce this idea of, if you're already financially established, you can possibly even make money off of your licensing of being a superhero. I mean, sports ball players do it and movie actors do it. Why not? Licensing, right? Merchandising, where the real money's made, right? But then it starts to go towards the tongue-in-cheek. So the Justice League is approached by a businessman named Maxwell Lord. Those of you who saw that horrible Wonder Woman 1984, it's that character. Okay? That was a poor representation, but that was the character. And just forget all the canon of that movie. Screw it all. It turns out he was a very successful businessman too, but he actually had superpowers too. He was a metahuman, and nobody knew it. Instead of being the costume superhero, he used it to excel in the business world. And his ability was the ability to influence people. And if you're a business person who can influence people, and we're talking influence like the Purple Man in Jessica Jones. Okay? But he's got this brilliant idea to get involved with the Justice League and sponsor them as a patron, incorporate them, and export them to other countries. I think it's a brilliant idea. Pause there. I want to welcome Lady Mist. Lady Mist, thank you so much for being here. And I just want to mention to you, but also to, other blue wrenches that are in the chat right now that might not have been here at the beginning of the stream. If you look in the description, you are now a permanent member of my staff here at Last Call. You're here all the time. You've got a blue wrench. I super appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here. And Surreality, I don't know when you came, but I wanted to say hi to you. Thank you so much for being here. It's good to see you, my friend.
Now, I do have those stories up. Troy.
Tim Hayes, thanks so much for being here. Yep, you were saying?
I do have those stories up whenever you want me to go through them for you. The 2 articles.
Go ahead. Let's talk about that real quick.
You just made a face. You're not okay.
No. I mean, it's an awkward transition, but you are right to keep me on path because we are already at the 10:30 mark. And you can see that my eyes are drooping and I'm getting a little fuzzy, and you're doing your job as my designated driver. So thank you so much.
I will post the headline if I remember how to do that. I have to go into your actual.
We're kind of doing a role reversal. Usually I do this on his stream, you know.
So there's the title. Blue Beetle, Warner Brothers believes Hurricane Hillary had a significant impact on the movie's box office.
I saw this and just the headline, I laughed. This was, for fuck's sake. Okay, go ahead. Read it off to us, man.
So here we go. At superherohype.com. All right.
Yeah.
So the links are in the chat. Okay, so I'll go ahead and read a bit from this article. Warner Brothers has attributed the low box office opening of Blue Beetle to the recently dissipated Hurricane Hillary. According to comicbook.com, the studio told Exhibitor Relations Co. that the tropical storm's impact on the DC superhero movie is anticipated to be significant, particularly in Southern California, where the film is over-indexing. Los Angeles, which represented the #1 market for Blue Beetle, was hit by rain, flooding, mudslides, and rock slides over the weekend of August 18th, according to the National Weather Service's Los Angeles office. The Hurricane Hillary was the first tropical storm to hit Southern California in 84 years. Blue Beetle opened to $25 million at the domestic box office, making one of the
It's global boiling, you know. That's what it is.
It's global what?
Global boiling. That's what they're calling it now.
There you go. Okay. Lowest debuts ever for the DC Extended Universe movie. I thought it wasn't a DC Extended Universe movie, unless it's part of the new DC Extended.
We'll get into that a little bit later.
The Cholo Marduena led feature is currently nestled between the openings of The Suicide Squad, $26 million, and Wonder Woman 1984, $16.7 million. However, it is worth noting that both those movies were released simultaneously in theaters and on streaming due to the pandemic.
Oh, shit, CK. Don't hold back. Tell us what you really think.
Which means that both could have possibly opened higher if released solely on the big screen.
Uh-huh.
Blue Beetle's opening is also below the other two DC EU installments that released earlier this year, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, $30.1 million, which is considered a bomb, and The Flash at $55 million. Both of those films have been labeled box office bombs, with the later expected to lose Warner Brothers Discovery upwards of $200 million.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Tropical Storm Hillary? Your thoughts?
This is no different than, hey, let's blame the coof for, for our movies failing and all this other kind of shit. No,
it was trending well for California. California would have carried this over
the $300
million box office mark.
There is absolutely no doubt. This is just scapegoating is all it is. I mean, if it wasn't so sad, it would be funny. You know what I'm saying? I'm just, and just a reminder, the DOJ has preemptively ruled any deaths resulting from Hurricane Hillary will be classified as suicides. Just a reminder.
So anyway,
yeah. What's Eternal Truth number 2? Epstein did not commit suicide. Just a reminder.
Anyways, and there was another article. Do you want to go ahead and go to the other one next?
Please, go ahead. Yeah,
let's go to the other one we had. There probably will not be any Blue Beetle discussion on Sunday, only because we're covering it tonight.
Yeah, he sent these articles to me, and I wasn't clear. I assumed he was sending them to me just to be part of the notes for Sunday. I'm like, no, I'm stealing these for Friday. He's like, no, that's why.
We have enough to talk about, especially with a certain movie about a cat person.
Yeah, we're gonna. There's gonna be some ranting on Sunday, guys. Just a heads up on that.
I think you can still catch the short story over the New Yorker if you're so inclined.
There you go.
Anyway, okay, so here is the next article. Blue Beetle star Cholo Marduena calls out Warner Brothers. Yikes! I think this is kind of clickbaity myself. I'll go ahead and read it. Blue Beetle actor Cholo Marduena is not stressing about the pressures of higher management, despite Warner Brothers Discovery struggles with the recent DC extended universe movies. Warner Brothers has experienced recent box office disappointments and failures with DC's Black Adam, Shazam, Fury of the Gods, and The Flash. According to Gunn, Blue Beetle is the first DCU character, but the movie has suffered the same unfortunate box office fate as its predecessors. Even Maître seems up to date on the studio struggles, but in the wake of Blue Beetle's release, he is trying not to let the pressure get to him. Maître spoke to Variety about Blue Beetle's release and not letting the box office pressure get to him, which is a sentiment that the cast and crew are likely feeling after the film has done poorly so far at the box office. When asked if he felt pressure for Blue Beetle to be a blockbuster hit, Maître said, I'm sure for Warner Brothers there's pressure, and added, that sounds a little snarky. Maître expressed that he wants Blue Beetle to be the biggest movie of all time, and that he truly feels it is a worldwide movie. Maître pivots from his Warner Brothers call out and further elaborates, saying he thinks it should be a box office smash, but at the same time, there's box office smashes that aren't the best, and vice versa. The Blue Beetle actor does not want to be a prisoner to the numbers. This is a positive mentality. Excuse me. Hold on. Okay. The Blue Beetle actor does not want to be a prisoner to the numbers. This is a positive mentality in a dire situation, which is quite different from the previous actors such as Zachary Levi suggesting fans see Shazam 2 over John Wick 4 on Instagram Live when praising Saffron and previous Warner Brothers executive Walter Mata. Rather than being overwhelmed by any pressure, the Blue Beetle actor watched the movie on his birthday with his family. It's wonderful to have my family feel representative. That's what all great movies do. Regardless of ethnicity, movies transcend all those labels, Maître said. Okay. So, one thing I wanted to make a point, maybe some other actors in Hollywood could maybe learn from his example of what to say and what not to say in interviews.
True.
Because, I mean, I think he's just being honest, but I mean, he's saying, look, I made a good movie. I like this movie. He probably knew it probably wasn't going to do big box office, though, right? That's the impression I get.
Exactly. And I did want to acknowledge, although I'm typing a little bit in the chat's talking a little bit about Epstein Island and some of the Hollywood personalities involved there. And look, at this point, I pretty much assume if you're in the entertainment industry, you're a corrupt friend of the playground, and until I see reason otherwise, I'm sorry, I don't give a lot of grace in that sphere anymore. I'm sorry. I know I'm painting with a wide brush, and I'm kind of going guilty until proven innocent, but that's where I am with those people.
There's been too much covering up over there.
Absolutely.
I mean, how many people knew about what Harvey was up to?
I was just going to say, the whole Harvey Weinstein thing made it very clear. We all know about it, and then when it becomes public, oh, shock and horror, and clutch the pearls. Well, you've had Pearl Jam on you for way too long. Screw you people. You're all hypocrites. What's that line from the Vicki Lawrence song? Or no, it wasn't Vicki Lawrence. Who was it? Harper Valley PTA. It's just a little patent place, and you're all a bunch of Harper Valley hypocrites.
Let's see. Continuing Chronicle says Jamie Reyes equals Miles Morales.
In some ways, a little bit.
I'm gonna say the Into the Spider-Verse movie, regardless of what I had to say, for a big hit for Sony. Those animated.
And when they created the whole idea of what was his name again? The Spider-Verse guy?
Miles Morales.
Yeah, Miles Morales. He was in a different universe. He was Ultimates, When they decided to combine those universes, it's like, well, I'm sorry, you're Spider-Boy, man. The biggest problem with the biggest problem with the Blue Beetle movie is that the biggest thing that differentiates him from other heroes, that Scarab is an alien Trojan horse. Can't be done in a single film. And, maybe that's a good place to pivot into this one point that I did want to bring up, and that's the fact that, keep in mind, everybody, regardless of the scuttlebutt you're hearing, And I'm sorry if I just put a friggin' Disney song into your
Thank
head. But it is, as I said in my monologue, the penultimate Snyderverse film. It was created under the Snyderverse. Whether or not Zack Snyder had anything to do with it, he probably didn't. But it was that canon of stories, along with Shazam and Batfleck and Wonder Woman and all that other bullshit. That's all dead. That has no history. The only reason we're getting these movies is because they don't know what the fuck else to do with them. They need to make some money off of them. They need to release them, get them done, move on to whatever it is James Gunn wants to do. The fact that James Gunn is saying, well, we do intend for Jaime Reyes to be, the first superhero in the... Does that mean this is canon with your new shit or not? Because, damn it, shit or get off the pot. Leave this behind and make it clear this was made under this isn't the new canon. We haven't rebooted yet. Go enjoy it. Know this character. We'll probably reboot the character going forward. Something. But no, they want their cake and they want to eat it too, and you can't do that, and it's hurting them. They are already tainting the Gunverse by keeping one foot in the Snyderverse. That's the problem I'm seeing here. That's the problem I'm seeing. This story has no canon going forward, especially since the Aquaman from the Snyderverse has a movie still to come.
Yeah, I don't understand that. And which Batman is going to be in that movie? I guess the Ben Affleck Batman. Is he going to morph into George Clooney at some point in the movie?
My head hurts. I don't know.
And then he's going to show his American Express card. Never leave the cave without it. They'll do that line again. You like that idea?
What's your superpower? I'm rich. Yeah, no, Bruce Wayne would never fucking say that. In fact, who actually had Batman right in that regard was Nolan, right? Because he ends up losing his whole fucking fortune briefly. He doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care about his fortune. It's a means to an end. His whole focus is Batman, his mission. Which
I would argue it's his brain is a superpower. He's very smart. He's like a Lex Luthor level smart, right? That's what I always got the impression from.
Yes, but not by birth. By will. Force of will. He decided it's discipline. It's discipline. I'm going to learn everything that I can learn. I'm going to become an engineer, a chemist, a scientist, a detective. I'm going to learn all the martial arts. I'm going to build my body to the peak. I'm going to use all of my resources on technology to be the superhero that I need to be to fight this mission.
Do you know there was an episode of Justice League where the villain was going after all the superheroes, right? And he basically tells Batman, "You know what? I'll leave you alone. You're not like the other superheroes. You don't have any powers." And then Batman replies, "Oh, I have one. I don't give up." And I thought that was funny. And he's the one that ends up taking the guy down. But, yeah.
In a way, there is that, right? I mean, what is it? A hero is no braver than any other man. He's only brave 15 minutes longer. I mean, there.
Like that.
Yeah, and I don't. Somebody in the chat help me out with that quote. I don't know where it comes from. That's not me. But it is this idea that you come to a point where you realize there is something more important in this world than myself. And I'm willing to die for the people around me, the people I'm trying to protect, a mission that I'm on, because that's more important to me than my own life, right? This self-sacrifice. It's a very Jesus kind of concept, right? And it's what we look for in all of our heroes. The hero is always, obviously, dying isn't the goal. You know, it's not the intent. It's just you don't care if it happens. The mission is more important. And what is your mission? I'm here to serve and protect. I'm here to defend the weak. I am here to seek justice. You know, I'm here to be a hero and to defend those who cannot defend themselves. And if it means laying down my life to do it, had to die somehow, right? At least let my death mean something. And this is why the death of the hero is such a recurring thing in your superhero stories, right? People have been very critical of the death of Superman, but let's face it, it was a good death, right? Now, a lot of superheroes have been killed off over time, and they die and they come back, and you can argue about, well, does that death have any gravitas? But there are some deaths in comic book history that these characters die and they stay dead because they have to, because they result in the origin story of a superhero. Whether it's Uncle Ben for Spider-Man, whether it's Thomas and Martha Wayne, you know, Jor-El and Lara, you know, these deaths have to happen so that their children are inspired to go on and be the best that they can be. Which kind of brings me to a point that, what's the death of a character, a superhero character, when it's not a good death? I think a lot of people have a lot of problems with the death of Ted Kord in the comics.
How did he die?
It was a very senseless death. It was doubly bad because it took a character that a lot of people liked, Maxwell Lord, turned him into a villain, and then resulted in the death of Ted Kord. And there's all this stuff that happened in the 90s and Identity Crisis, and it was when DC was starting to go down that dark path, fridging girlfriends and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And Ted Kord gets killed in a very senseless kind of way, which leads Wonder Woman eventually to then kill in a very like Jessica. I think they were invoking the idea of Jessica Jones killing the Purple Man. It was Wonder Woman killing Maxwell Lord, and it wasn't. Yes, thank you. I wasn't, to put a fine point on it. Maxwell Lord just shot him in the head, which is right. I mean, the bad guy. It's the whole, just shoot him in the head. And we'll be done with it. Don't screw around with frickin' laser beams on the sharks and the slow dipping mechanism. Just shoot him in the head. That's basically what they were going for. Maxwell Lord just shoots him in the head because he is a Batman-esque type character who doesn't have superpowers, really. And someone just decided, just take him out. He's done. And it was poignant in the overall concept of superhero stories, but Blue Beetle fans were pissed, But then when Wonder Woman shows up and she learns, he's got this ability to take control of people, like he could take over Superman. He could influence Superman to do whatever he wanted. And Wonder Woman's like, yeah, no, you're too dangerous to live. Crack! And breaks his neck.
Ugh.
And it's caught on, camera, so it goes out to the world and everyone sees Wonder Woman do this.
Great.
So there are repercussions there too.
I will say this, at least, again, I'm going by the cartoons. I always got the impression that Wonder Woman didn't kill out of respect for the Justice League and the other superhero movies, but she herself had no problem.
Yeah.
In certain circumstances, killing. That even shows up in the Gal Gadot movie where she's trying to kill Ares. That was a big thing.
See, I could have a great philosophical discussion with people about, killing a regular human, killing a supervillain, killing a god, stuff like that. But I would always point out that in the writing of a story, not within the narrative, but the exegesis, the outside the story, the writer writing the story, what you choose to do has consequences, right? And this is why I say Superman never kills. When Zack Snyder says, well, he didn't have a choice, he had to. No. You wrote him that way. Superman never kills, and you broke that rule. Superman didn't break that rule. You fucking broke that rule. And you broke Superman doing it.
And also Batman.
And Batman, and et cetera, et cetera. And
there was a one episode of Superman.
Yeah, you can, and that's the other thing too. You can go back to Golden Age and find things.
And like George Reeves threw a criminal. Oh, they left him on the
left him on a mountain. Yeah, one could even argue, technically speaking, he didn't kill him. He allowed him to kill himself. That was his own fault. But the fact is, it's absolutely true. And people will point out, Batman used a gun in the Golden Age. Look. Okay, these characters they were of their time, and they have been completely rebooted umpteen times since then. The characters that, we all grew up with, the Silver Age, the Bronze Age, these are not the Golden Age characters. Hell, DC Comics even separated them, said Earth 1, Earth 2, et cetera, and created a multiverse to separate these characters. But, and yeah, it's true. The early Superman, the Superman, if he didn't kill people in the comics, he did stuff that should have frickin' resulted in people's deaths. It's just, but look, Christopher Reeve had a friggin' cellophane S on his chest that he threw that engulfed that was stupid shit. You're supposed to look past that and go, okay. It was a plot point. It was stupid. Let's just forget that thing happened, okay? Because it never comes up again, okay? Let's give a writer some grace. In the grand scheme of things, they don't kill. Because you see Superman, you see Batman in certain stories where they not only reaffirm they don't kill, they very poignantly say why they don't kill. And you've seen stories where Batman, slaps the gun out of, somebody's hand and says, we don't use guns. Those are the weapons of our enemies, right? Why? Why do we not use guns? Because his parents were killed by a gun, right?
Yes.
Now, that's very convenient for Batman to say and for superpowered people to say. I'm sorry. As a normal human being, who could barely touch his toes, screw you. I've got a gun, and I will use it to defend myself and my family. If some villain bursts into my house, I didn't kill them. They killed themselves with my gun. Just saying, Batman. But I super appreciate your being a cut above. Look, the more superpowers you have, the higher standard you have to hold yourself to. And I think that's the problem that a lot of the modern writers are missing out with Superman, right? He's a god among men, but he doesn't see himself that way. That's the key. He sees himself as no better than you and me. All these things I could do, and I couldn't even save my father from a heart attack. What good is that? I'm no better than anyone else. See? And then all these things I can do doesn't give me the right to take somebody else's life. If I have all these powers, I have to hold myself to a higher standard. Right?
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, and that really gets into some religious territory, right?
Yeah,
if God could do anything, he could take away your free will. But there's a reason he restrains himself and doesn't do that.
But then there are other cases like things like Brainiac or Darkseid where...
Well, and there's always been that argument, why doesn't Batman kill Joker? For fuck's sake. At this point, just fucking kill Joker. By leaving him alive, you're responsible for any deaths that come after him, right? That's a philosophical debate, and it's one that Batman just refuses to engage in. Think about it. He's like, I will not have that death on my hands. I keep arresting him. I keep putting him in Arkham or in prison or whatever. Your system keeps letting him out. It's your problem. Fix it. I keep patching the hole in the dam. Build a new friggin' dam if you have to. I get it. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe we're getting a little off topic. We were talking about Blue Beetle. So
he died. So how did Jamie Reyes come on the scene? Are you familiar with that? Like,
I'm vaguely. I wasn't really in the comics at that point when he was coming into it, but it's, from what I understand, it's very much like what's in the movie. He finds this scarab. You know, he gets these superpowers. As CK was saying, you know, there's an element to the scarab that's kind of like Venom. It's got its own AI personality.
I know that.
Yeah, I don't know too much about that. It's probably some great story. You 90s kids that grew up with Jaime Reyes, I understand that, but I feel like you've missed out. What did I say?
No, I was pronouncing it wrong. Jaime Reyes, you're right.
Oh, okay. I thought I said something wrong. And it's entirely possible. I'm pretty freaking blitzed if you can't tell. Watch my eyes. You know, when they start to droop, you know I'm well into the martini. But you know, maybe we should do a stream someday about the Phantom Zone. The Phantom Zone is a very interesting. There are problems with the Phantom Zone, and they've addressed them over time in the DC universe. It's sending someone to hell without parole, is what it really is. And let's face it, there should be some due process. There needs to be some due process. But the Phantom Zone is not an inescapable prison, as we well know either. So if anyone can get out of the Phantom Zone, it would probably be the Joker. I wouldn't put it past him. So there is that. But
maybe, yeah.
Oh, I did not realize that. The character made his first appearance in Infinite Crisis number 3. Yeah, I have all of the Infinite Crisis. But it's a little bit of a fuzzy memory. I was collecting comics and half paying attention to them, you know. I'll be honest with you. I need to reread Crisis on Infinite Earths. There's a lot in those comics that you miss from 1, 2, 3 reads through of those 12 issues. It was one of the first big multi-cross title everything in DC Comics, you know, type storyline. And if you didn't read all those characters, know who all those characters were, there were whole panels where you were like, I don't know who these people are. I don't care. You know, and you were watching for when Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, the Teen Titans, you know, oh, there's the All-Star Squadron. Oh, there's the crime syndicate from Earth 3, you know, whatever. But yeah, some of those old ones I probably should go back to. Look, guys, I'm sorry to sound like a friggin' boomer or an old fart, you know, back in my day, but it's kind of true. It's kind of true. We had some great stories. And this is what I keep trying to tell people. There's a reason that things like the Odyssey, the Iliad, all of Shakespeare, the Canterbury Tales, all these old stories, they have value. And if you were to read them today, you'd realize, this is the cornerstone for all the things I like now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There is something in that. I have to agree with Sorality. Killing Joke was awesome. Just don't take it too seriously, and don't read too much into the whole ending. There's the whole theory that Batman kills the Joker at the end. I'm sorry, the canon of subsequent stories kind of kills that whole idea. So, but and I'm sure by the Killing Joke you obviously mean the comic, not that farcical, animated feature that they did. Because
yeah.
for fuck's sake, I was gonna say Batman doesn't have time for dipping his wick. He's more focused on his mission. But unfortunately, that's not true. Because he's had a child with Batgirl, with Catwoman,
Yes.
and with Talia al Ghul. So, not only does he dip his wick, he dips his wick in crazy. So, I mean, we can't cover for Batman too much here.
I like Batman.
I do too. And I like the idea of, if not the specific execution of Damian Wayne. Okay? I love the history on that character. I love the Talia al Ghul angle, the son of the demon, or whatever it was that was the original story that established that relationship, that implied the birth of Damian Wayne. There have been some retcons there and whatnot. Don't really have a problem with that. I want the Huntress to exist, and I want her to be the daughter of Catwoman. Okay? That needs to happen in mainline continuity too. But yeah, so
Does she have a couple origins, the Huntress?
as far as I know, it's only two. The first one was she was a character from the Earth 2 Golden Age era, where she was the daughter of Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne. She took on the role of the Huntress, and she was in that next generation of superheroes. Right? After the Justice Society, the new superheroes were like Robin. Instead of Robin becoming Dick Grayson, instead of him becoming Nightwing, in Earth 2, he just grew up into an adult Robin, and he continued, in the vein of Superman. Huntress became, she took the place of Batgirl, and so forth, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I mean, and then when they, in post-Crisis era, in order to keep the character of Huntress alive, they needed a completely different origin. So she was completely unrelated to Batman. She was Helena Bertinelli, and her father was some sort of a crime lord.
Yeah.
And a whole different, very interesting idea, though, because, growing up Catholic Italian,
yeah.
She had this like a priest's collar and whatnot, like the cross on her chest. It was a very interesting story, but I'm sorry, I never really took to her specifically because, and don't even get me started on, she's Italian, so you should like her, seeing yourself on screen. Fuck that shit. I'm sorry. When you take a previously existing character and reboot them, no, I don't want that kind of representation. Screw you. Okay?
No.
But I do want to believe that there's a point where, Helena Wayne exists. She is the daughter of Selena Kyle and Bruce Wayne. And even though it was a terrible series, poorly executed, it was a great idea. I loved that Birds of Prey TV series on the WB, CW, whatever network it was at the time. Look into that if you guys don't know about it.
I remember that. Yeah, that Mark Hamill did the voice of the Joker in the background, remember?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did, because he was already the voice of the Joker in Batman the Animated Series, and they were implying that this was the same universe. It was meant to be the same universe as the Burtonverse and the animated series verse. And I liked that idea.
And
but it was poorly executed.
Oracle was on it, remember that?
They did a great job. They did the whole Killing Joke story with Barbara Gordon being paralyzed, becoming Oracle. They even went so far as to do the Black Canary story with the multi-generation Black Canary. Do you remember who the earlier generation Black Canary was?
Yes, it was, what's her name?
Lori Loughlin.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, I know she had a bit of a scandal. I still like her. She's still a babe. She really is. Uncle Jesse was a lucky guy. Let me just say that, Just saying.
Good old Uncle Jesse on Full House, yes.
Yeah.
Was she in a movie called My Secret Admirer? Does that ring a bell to you?
It doesn't, but now I need to look into it.
Look, it was like one of those 80s teen movies.
I would imagine, yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, it was pretty good, actually, as I recall. Okay.
I have to agree with KBA on this. Pre-Crisis DC was a rare instance of having a multiverse that worked. I agree. I really, really agree. And CK is saying, I love Pre-Crisis. I do too. I loved where they were going with that whole Crisis on Infinite Earths. I loved a lot of things about the Bronze Age post-Crisis John Byrne era. They just should have stopped picking at the dangling threads, because they unraveled the whole tapestry and fucked it all up. They really did. And thank you, Lester San Jose. That was my goal for tonight, to do a little bit of a deep dive, give you guys all a little background on the character of Blue Beetle, and kind of put it in context. I have nothing to say about this movie. I did not see it. I've heard that it was a good movie, but I've heard a lot of people in the Latin community have some real problems with its portrayal of the family. Even though, let's face it, we all want to be appreciative of a positive family structure in movies today that's so rare. Yeah, one of these days, CK, I'll probably talk about the John Byrne Man of Steel, post-Crisis reboot of Superman and how good it was. It really was. It took a lot of weird, messed up, contradictory history and distilled it down. And I think every now and again, it's not a bad idea to do that. It's kind of what Marvel did with their Ultimates universe, I think, in a lot of ways. And it's what made the MCU good until they fucked that up too. It's like every time these people in the entertainment industry come up with a brilliant idea to streamline things and make things better, they just can't leave well enough alone and they fuck it all up again. It's just, ridiculous.
By the way, Secret Admirer starred C. Thomas Howell, Lori Loughlin, Kelly Preston, and Fred Ward.
I like all of those people.
Yeah, you might want to check this out. You may put this on if you don't own it, you should put it on your Netflix.
Yeah, I'll have to check that. Well, no, Netflix is going away, so.
Oh, I don't know what to
In fact, I sent back my last DVD, and I was going to mention this to Netter. It's time for us to cancel our Netflix subscription so that they don't try moving us over to their streaming service in September.
They're going to force you to go over to the streaming?
I don't know. I'm just speculating. I just know that in September the DVD thing ends, and I don't want to have any part of that.
How do you think Warner Brothers handled the marketing of Blue Beetle, though?
They did nothing. They did nothing. Nothing.
And
Netter got that reference.
So, what do you think? Do you think that this was a... What do you call
It's what I said earlier in the stream. It's just like Aquaman. Oh. It's a movie that's finished that they just need to put out and make what they can off of it. They've abandoned it.
Oh, Secret Admirer is on both Tubi and Pluto TV.
Can you send me a note?
I'll send you
I am too blotto to remember this after this stream.
Okay. I think
I'm serious. I'm probably not going to remember half of what I talked about.
Which
tonight.
you prefer to use, Pluto or Tubi? What's your big thing?
Tubi.
Okay, so
you're going to actually send me the link. Well, that makes it super easy for me. Yeah.
But I don't know. Do you think that this was going to be like a trilogy? We'd have seen Blue Beetle movies. Do you think they're still going to include Blue Beetle in this new cinematic universe extravaganza we're getting? With
my problem with it is, look, if they were continuing their Snyderverse, I'd say yeah. Considering the Snyderverse is over, no. Because nobody cares about this character. Nobody even knows who this is. And what a dumb fuck he is. But one thing that Zaslav said that was absolutely spot on. He understands who the cornerstone characters are in the DC universe. You got to start with Superman. You got to get Batman straightened out. Wonder Woman's got to be in there, okay? Get the Trinity figured the fuck out, right?
Then you can bring other characters in.
Then you bring in your Green Lantern. You bring in your Green Arrow. All the sidekick characters.
But is that what they're doing, though? We've seen their plans. They're doing like...
That's the problem. They're not even doing that.
They're doing a Green Lantern TV series that's supposed to be True Detective or something. It's like... It's going to have Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart?
I don't know.
And again, this is this whole thing that Disney does with their TV having to be connected to the movies, and like you're not going to understand what's going on in the movies.
I'm not sure the direct reference here, but super easy, barely an inconvenience. Great quote from another a great YouTube channel, but I'm not sure what you're referring to specifically within our context, and that's fine. It's a great reference. I super appreciate that. Netter laughs because in the middle of the day, for absolutely no reason, I'll say, "Floof powder, eggies, simonym," and those of you that are watching, cooking videos on YouTube probably know the reference I'm making. If Al was awake right now, he'd know what I was talking about.
I thought it was Mr. Cinnamon Man or something.
It's B. Dylan Howell. He's Hollis. B. Dylan Hollis. Thank you.
He does the funniest cooking videos. Go watch them.
He started out on Instagram. So no, not Instagram. What is that? The TikTok. He started out on the TikTok doing very short videos. So he would do these, and if you pay attention to these videos, and they kind of loop over again, you can get a whole recipe out of it and write it down. But he describes these historic recipes from like the 1900s up to the
1980s.
The 1980s. And some of them are really, really good, and some of them are really, really bad. And he does them in like 30 seconds, and he's got this presentation style that's just so funny. And he's got that kind of humor, he's a young guy, but he's got that kind of humor I haven't seen since the 80s. He's a gay guy, so he has no problem making gay jokes. So he'll be doing something about, this recipe, and he's making cookies and they're pink. And I like pink.
No, he said they're fruity.
They're fruity. Like me. Because I am gay. just laugh.
To put a highlight on it, right?
And it's just so funny. And then he'll do the double entendres, where he'll do the thing about, whip till stiff. Look, I'm single. I know what that's like. You whip till stiff. It's, Anyway, I got completely off on a tangent. Check out B. Dylan Ellis' channel. It's some funny stuff. But yeah, just today I was in the kitchen and I opened up the refrigerator and I go, Eggies! And Netter's in her office laughing. I don't know if she was in the middle of a meeting or something, and it's just. Oh, Surreality said, Netter, I apologize to let you down. Stream mental health issues at the time. Love you and Troy. Understanding, blessed, you guys. Oh yeah, Surreality was lined up to be a guest on Netter's network. It didn't come to pass. No, yeah, it things happen. Something similar happened to another guest. We brought him in on another night. Yeah, it absolutely happens.
I want to make a comment about what Continuum Chronicles says. And John Stewart is my favorite Green Lantern, so I'm looking forward to Green Lantern buddy cop thing, Lethal Weapon in space. If that's the case, though, it should be John Stewart and Guy Gardner.
That would be good,
John
too.
Stewart would be the straight-laced cop, and Guy Gardner would be the
frickin' insane one. Yeah. Eeny, meeny, miny, hey, Mo! Yeah, exactly. Exactly, that kind of thing. I can totally see that. You're absolutely right. Oh, by the way, my sweetie got me this shirt. I guess I should pull it down so you can actually read it. It says, "Of course I talk to myself. Sometimes I need expert advice."
That's funny.
Netter just gave me that today.
Yeah, Guy Gardner's in Superman, is that right?
I don't fucking know. Honestly,
Nathan Fillion's playing it when he's been playing Hal Jordan all this time. In the cartoons.
But I think he's a little old to be playing Hal Jordan at this point.
Old to be playing anything at this point? I don't know.
Look, what is Hal Jordan, right? Hal Jordan is the Tom Cruise character from Top Gun back in the 80s. Okay, so it's got to be a young guy.
Yeah, this is why I was thinking maybe one of the actors from Maverick, one of the younger pilots, would be good in that role. Get one of the actors.
Yeah, absolutely. I could.
Of leads.
And there's a little bit of synergy there, right? Yeah, someone who's already been established as the pilot character type thing.
In fact, there's even a hotshot character in Maverick who you think is, in some ways, is the. Like, this is how Tom Cruise was back when he was young. You understand? Because he's... Yeah. If you see that movie, you'll know who I'm talking about.
And, look, so, because Netter is a huge Green Lantern fan. And I got her the Ryan Reynolds Green Lantern film on DVD because she's a fan. And it's the kind of movie where I watched it and I'm like, it's not really as bad as people say it is. There are some glaring problems, and I don't think Ryan Reynolds' portrayal was he was a good casting, but the way he was played,
played him as Deadpool.
Kind of played him as Deadpool. Yeah, that's absolutely right, and that's not his fault. I blame the director for that.
And then you have Parallax in there instead of Sinestro.
I know, and it's like look, guys, you've got more than 75 years of comic stories to draw from. Okay? Do your fucking homework. Look at these comics, look at these story arcs, and break them down into something, distill them down into something reasonable, and make movies about them. Don't try to cram 75 years of fucking storylines into 1 2-hour damn movie. That's the problem we keep having with so many of these. So what I said about the whole Snyderverse. He wanted to do Dark Knight Returns. Look, that's in the future, in Elseworld.
No, he wanted to do the death of Superman in the same movie.
And the death of Superman. That's all decades after the establishing story. You didn't do the establishing story to lead up to those. You're a moron. You're trying to build the roof when you haven't even built the foundation, you dumbass. That's my problem with all this shit.
There's even a little bit of Killing Joke in there too, with the dead Robin and stuff. Like he was bringing all the dark.
And this is why early on I described it as taking 75 years worth of comics, throwing them into a blender and hitting what the fuck. And this is what he spills out.
Why don't you tell us how you really feel, honey?
Yeah, I have some strong feelings about this.
Did you like
guys.
his
Just
Lex Luthor, the Jesse Eisenberg Lex Luthor? With
yeah, the Joker. The bald Joker, yeah, he was awesome. No. And I swear, that gif of him breaking the neck and showing such glee about it, that just sums up his complete lack of understanding.
Oh, you mean Zack Snyder, the director?
Yeah. It's like, you know what? You're a moron. Fuck you and your whole Snyderverse. It lasted way too long. And who are the Snyder bots that love this? A bunch of fucking edgelord, tween assholes is the only people who could possibly like this thing.
My only worry is, are we just trading one Snyderverse for another with this new slate of movies? I don't know.
I'll be honest, Boomer, in all grace and all kindness, I don't want to even speculate about what Gunn is doing, because we've gotten zero so far. I don't want to judge him. The things he's done previously, I've very much enjoyed. Okay. So it may be awesome.
But you have to admit, him and Zaslav really mishandled this whole...
Yes, but more Zaslav, less Gunn, because what's Gunn going to say? He's working for Warner Brothers. He's got to say, yeah. It makes me...
the greatest superhero movie ever.
That's exactly where I was going. See, you and I, simpatico. I was thinking of what's his name? What's her name? That played Khaleesi on A Game of Thrones. Yeah. What did you think of the last season of Game of Thrones? Best season ever. It's very clear she's saying, I'm saying what I gotta say because I'm employed by these fuckers, but it sucks. That's the translation, right? And I'm forgetting that tall, pretty black girl that was her handmaiden.
She's also the Fast and the Furious movies too. Yeah.
Oh, is she? I didn't know.
Yeah, she's like the.
I really liked her in Game of Thrones, but you could see her like deer in the headlights. She's like, oh yeah, it was great. And then when what's her name? She's like, yeah, greatest season ever. She's like, it's very clear she's kind of in the same camp, but she's girl nobody who needs to tote the company line. But it's like, there's some YouTuber put out a video that was like all the snips from different interviews with all the actors that played in Game of Thrones, giving their opinions, and they're either like Khaleesi, whatever her name is. I'm forgetting the actress's name. Where are you guys at? Help me out here. I can't remember her name.
Daenerys.
Yeah, but what was the actress's name? I can't remember.
I'll find out for you.
Amelia Clark. Thank you. Amelia Clark is like very clearly being tongue in cheek. She's saying the party line, but it's very clear she means the opposite. Whereas the Kip, what's his name, who played Jon Snow? Kip Harington, right. He says it exactly like he feels. And then he kind of backtracks. He's like, I don't remember his exact words, but they were like, what did you think of the last season of the way it ended up? He's like, brace yourself, it sucked. And then he's like, or it was great. I don't know. However you look at it. Whatever. But it was very clear what his opinion was. And look, Emily Clark was, in my opinion, not a bad casting for Linda Hamilton in Terminator. It was all the other fucking castings they did in that movie that sucked. But that's a whole other topic. So, is there a takeaway from tonight? I haven't seen Blue Beetle because I have no interest, because I have seen, with the exception of the Shazam movie, absolutely zero Snyderverse films. None. I haven't even seen Man of Steel. I've only seen clips and commentaries. I've seen none of them. Warner Brothers has received no money from me for their movies, with the exception of my rental of Shazam, which Netter and I very much enjoyed. Without seeing all of those movies, I still feel confident saying it was probably the best DC film that was done during the Snyderbot era.
The Snyderbot era, I like that.
Yeah. That's look, in vino veritas. I'm drunk enough that I'm going to say exactly what. There's no filter anymore. So
There's never any filter.
She's not wrong. Even sober, I don't really censor myself much. But look, it would be funny. You want to do a good drinking game, guys? Take a drink every time I swear. I am trying.
You'd be dead.
You'd be dead. That's true. You'd be the critical drinker. I am trying to cut out the swears, but it's true. The more I drink, the more I swear. And I was well into this martini early in the stream just because I thought it would help my singing, at least in my ears. But anyway, look, I'm not telling anybody don't go see something. I'm not telling anyone not to like something or they should like something or anything like that. Just here to share my opinion. Just here to... I was hungover for 4 days after the first time I did that. Don't ever do that again. That's know your limits. Know your limits, people. Linda Hamilton had a twin sister that started. Yes, that was brilliant. They used her twin sister as a body double in very awesomely done practical effects in Terminator 2. That's absolutely true. And look, those of you that are Linda Hamilton fans, just to know there's two of them out there. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? But, I don't know, guys. Hot blonde, I got a type. I really do.
He has a type.
Hear that? Yeah.
So
she knows.
So
she knows.
So do you think DC? So I guess we just gotta wait and see. I guess we still have Aquaman left. That's gonna be the last of the Snyder movies coming out.
And did you hear they went into major reshoots on that?
Again?
Yes. A lot of people are wondering if maybe they're going to take Mira out somehow, because that's... I don't know. People are pissed. They don't like her. She is... Look, the Ezra thing kind of told them, people care about this shit. They better get this shit figured out. So they may pull her out of it. I don't know what that matters to Amber Heard. She made her money off that movie. She won't make more money off of this movie if she's in it. She made her money and she's done. It would just kind of be an insult to her. The only people it matters to are the people that are, big Johnny Depp fans, kind of hate Amber Heard and are like, fuck it. I'm not... Look, there is everything against Aquaman 2, right? It's the last movie in a dead franchise that has no future, so there's no reason to go see it. It's got Amber Heard, so if you're an Amber Heard hater or Johnny Depp fan, you're not going to go see it, right?
No.
The only people that are going to go see it are maybe the fucking Barbie crowd that, look at Jason Momoa and go, oh, fuck it, he's hot, and I'd climb that all day,
He's not all that.
Well, you're an intelligent woman. You're not, you're not just dragged around by your ovaries, for crying out loud, which some of these young, dumb bitches are, But,
Cool.
No, it's the truth. In vino veritas. So, my bottom line takeaway is, if you want to go see Blue Beetle, go see it. I'm not going to see it because I've not had any interest in supporting the Snyderverse in any way, shape, or form. With the one caveat that I did like Shazam. But if you do a little digging, and the internet is your friend, and you can find these comics online, Golden Age, Silver Age, there is more to Blue Beetle than just Jaime Reyes. He's got a history that is worth looking into. And if you're going to start looking at Justice League trade paperbacks, look at the era of the Justice League International. It is absolutely worth your time. Not from a canon standpoint, but just from a friggin' pure enjoyment and laughter point of view. I swear, I read those comics and I laughed so hard. The Justice League International was funny. It was worth your time. So check it out. I really, really recommend it. Any last words on this particular topic, Aged Boomer?
No, I think I've said my piece.
You learn a thing or two about...
I did, about Ted Corden, about his untimely demise.
Yeah, that was when the comics really started to go downhill, and that's how we got to where we are today, I gotta say. So, let's take a look at the coming week. So, tomorrow night, over on Big Al, who fell asleep on us, and I hope he catches up on the rewatch. Saturday, the 26th, Big Al presents Films with Friends, Stargate from 1984. Are you a Stargate fan?
I saw the movie.
That's funny. Yeah, see, exactly. Because there's a lot of people out there that are huge fans of the multiple series that they've done. Well, this is where it started, right? Just like Buffy the Vampire Slayer started with a movie, so did Stargate. And it's a good movie. So we'll be watching that tomorrow night, 9 Central, 10 Eastern. That's the link to his YouTube channel, or excuse me, specifically to the stream where we'll be talking about it. But in the chat there, I will have the Cosme link so that you can watch the movie along with us if you don't have your own copy. But, own physical media. If you like the movie and you enjoy it, go out and get it yourself so that you always have it and can watch it whenever you want. And speaking of someone who's a big fan of physical media, I know that Deleted Scenes, Unscripted, tomorrow night, episode 28. Shit, I did it again. I haven't updated my notes. It is episode 28, but it's not a different path. Either way, tomorrow night, or excuse me, Sunday night on his channel, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. I don't remember what the topic is, but maybe he can fill us in. Oh, real quick. Coming in kind of at the end here. Oh, I'm clicking in the wrong place. I got to go to StreamYards. To say hello to our old toys who just stopped in to say hi. Thanks so much for stopping in. I'm hoping you're hitting the like button, but either way, your being here just encourages us. Maybe go back and watch it later. We are just wrapping up, so actually now would probably be a good time to go ahead and go back and watch it. But yeah, Deleted Scenes, if you're still here, please go ahead and let us know what your topic is for tomorrow, and if you have a link to tomorrow night's, excuse me, I keep saying tomorrow night, Sunday night stream, go ahead and drop it. But he is the 1 hour show that is the awesome lead into something else that's happening on Sunday.
Geeky Geezers.
I said Big Al, Stargate. I said all of that, yes.
Oh, okay.
You have actually you have been
I
drinking.
I have to say something about Stargate, but I didn't realize.
You've been drinking too, so you get cover as well. Geeky Geezers, what are we going to be talking about on Geeky Geezers?
Well, we're going to be talking about many things, like the return of the Atari 2600.
That kind of blew my mind a little bit. I was a little surprised by that.
And other things, like a certain movie I think might be drawing in the Barbie crowd, which I hope it doesn't.
We will rant about that. You guys enjoy me ranting? Maybe we rant a little bit on Sunday. And you'll have Age of Boomer spurring me on too. So
I'd never do that. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you know how to push my buttons.
I don't know what you're talking. Anyway, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
All right,
and then after that, go back to deleted scenes for The Other Side of Midnight, number 16. Actually, I don't know what that topic is going to be either, but it's going to be awesome because his After Midnight is a great wind down. You know, if Last Call is an intro to the weekend, you know, an opportunity to wind down from the week and gear up for the weekend, I would say that The Other Side of Midnight is the capper for your weekend, to wind down on a Sunday night going into Monday morning before you go back to work, you know. So definitely check that out. Which brings us around to September. We're going into another month here. Holy crap. September 1st. Thursday. Netters Network's Thursday Things. Who's your guest? Oh, wait. That's not right. No, that is the wrong link. Because that was last night's link. Yes. Who is your guest?
Tom Conkle!
Yeah. Just subscribe to Netters Network. We will have the link up as soon as I get her the thumbnail. Tom Conkle is coming on Netters Network for Thursday Things this Thursday with a very, very special announcement of the launch of an independent film he's working on. Oh. And those of you that follow Tom Conkle on YouTube probably have already seen a couple of the promos for it. But we bitch and moan a lot about what's coming out of the entertainment industry. But I think the future of entertainment is the independent creators, of which Tom Conkle is one. He was with us, was it last week or the week before, talking about the Hollywood strike. He's definitely been in that industry for a long time, but he's creating his own independent content, and I think it's worth supporting. So we will talk about that on Netters Network on Thursday Things. So that is September 1st. And I guess that brings us around to next week, where we are going to be... What did I say? Next week on... Yeah, don't laugh at me, you smart aleck. You drink booze tonight, too. Next week on Last Call, our topic... I want to focus in a little bit more, because it's been a while since we've talked about this topic. I want to talk again, because there's some stuff in the news about physical media. And to do that, I am going to be pulling in Greg from Fanzine, because let's face it, he is the physical media guru, right? And we're going to talk a little bit about what I had predicted, and I see it happening now. We're starting to have a shift back to physical media. We're going to use the cornerstone of the fact that D-, the mouse, who has gone all in on the streaming and has been trying to cut out the theater and has not been releasing stuff on physical media. Suddenly, they are releasing some of their Marvel stuff and some of the Mandalorian because they realize they're leaving money on the table. But this is also a couple weeks after they announced they're not going to be doing physical media in Australia anymore. So what the fuck, people? We'll talk about that next week. So
it's messed up.
Go. Yeah, it is. I agree. It absolutely is. So that's where we are tonight. Guys, we're wrapping it up, so please notice that Deleted Scenes is there. He's dropping all the links. Please subscribe to everyone that you see in the chat, subscribe to each other. We're building a community here. I super appreciate that. I'm not just blowing smoke when I say that when I, am saying hi to you guys on Fridays and I see you guys all saying hi to each other. It's like a parent seeing his kids getting along. It's like family, right? I super appreciate that. I love this community. So please subscribe to each other. And for those of you saying, well, I don't have any content out there, doesn't matter. Connect on the social medias,
and
okay?
maybe that'll inspire you to make some content.
Yeah, and if you decide to put out a video, you already have a built-in fan base that's going to say, hey, you put out your first video. Good on you.
And if you need help with that, just ask. Troy and I are happy to help.
Absolutely. And even if it's just, hey, I was bored today, and I wanted to come and say hi to everybody. You're going to get views, okay? So just... But I'm not saying you have to do that. If it's just you coming to the chat and saying hi, that's fine too. But connect up on the social type medias. And yeah. And thank you. I'm clicking in the wrong place. I need to be in the StreamYards to bring that up. There's your link. Because I was all effed up. Yeah. So thank you, Deleted Seeds, for dropping all the links as you do all night. You are one of the hardest working Blue Wrenches. And so yeah, subscribe to each other. Subscribe to everybody that I got linked below in the description. Netter's Network, Aged Boomer, Deleted Scenes, all the Blue Wrenches that I've listed below. And if I missed any Blue Wrenches, just shoot me a DM. I'll add you to the next stream for sure. But yeah. So there you go, guys. That's all I got for this week. I got good and drunk, and that was my goal for tonight, so I succeeded. Aged Boomer, any last thoughts for tonight?
No, just keep the faith. I think Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom will really send out this DCU with a splash.
I see what you did there. I got that reference.
And who knows? There may be 4 different versions of it coming out someday. Like there'll be other cuts that you can look forward to.
It'll be interesting if they go that route on an HD, physical media, multiple versions. It could happen. Could absolutely happen. Netter, any last words from you?
Well.
Yeah, I didn't give her enough notice. She wants to stand up and walk over to the mic.
Yeah, because otherwise I sound like I'm in a flipping tunnel.
Yes, true.
And it's directional towards you, so no one can hear me.
I know.
So, y'all know what I always say. We can talk amongst ourselves, and that's all well, good, and fun. But it is so much more fun when you guys are joining us in the chat. And you're dropping your comments and your questions and trivia, being goofy, whatever it may be. And it doesn't feel like we're separated by miles or continents in some cases. It feels like we're hanging out in the same room, joining each other's company and having a great time. And you aren't just our friends. You are our family. We love you guys and we appreciate you so much. You can be anywhere right now and you are here with us. You chose to be here and that means so much. So thank you for being here and we'll definitely see you next time.
Yeah. No, absolutely true. And you look, if you want to buy me a drink, the link is up above,
And you may have been drunk in that video, correct?
There's a possibility of that, yes, sir.
It's of absolute certainty. You buy me a drink, I will be drunk. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But I think it was a good stream tonight. I think I wanted to share some things with you guys, and I hope you learned something.
My God, I shall cherish this forever. I say, Opie, I'll trade you this baseball for your souvenir bat.
Sure.
What did you learn?
I hope you all learned something tonight about Blue Beetle. I hope you had a lot of fun tonight. Yeah, I should probably end this stream because I'm getting goofy. So you take care. I hope to see you on the next one. Hope to see you over on Big Al's channel tomorrow night, where we'll just hang out and watch a movie. I'll probably have some popcorn. No booze. I only drink on Fridays. But thanks so much for coming and hanging out with us. Hope to see you on the next one. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Good night, ladies. Good night, sir. Hit it, sweetheart.